What's up, everybody? Doug Lane here, Fastlane Car Care. We got this 2020 Ford Mustang. I want to do a video real quick. I want to show you guys how I do them. I see in the comments, or not in our comments, but in some of the Facebook groups, seems like a lot of people are struggling with these Mustangs, these newer ones. And I know I struggled with them when I first started tinting too, so first thing I'm gonna do, you can see I got my film on there. I don't know if you can quite tell. I just ran a line through the middle, and that's mainly just to hold my film on there while I do all this. One thing I've found that really helps when you're shrinking is making sure your film is not overlapping any rubber seals, overlapping the paint, any of that kind of thing. And you can see I kind of bunched the film up, so I kind of stop and let it relax for a second so we can get a more accurate cut. I'm staying a little bit, I'm using one finger to kind of run along this trunk lid, and then that's how I'm getting my spacing so I don't gouge into the trunk. This is 5%, so we're gonna have a really difficult time seeing it to cut it out if we wanted to be really precise. I don't know if you can see, we have probably about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches between the border and where we're cutting. It's nice to have a little safety zone there, especially if you're just starting out. Always gently pull this stuff off, because if it snags, you know, if you have a little snag or whatever, and then you go and rip it, you can, you know, rip it into your workspace, and then you just waste like a 4-foot chunk of film. This is the very end of the roll, which is why the edges look like crap, but it's perfect for this, because we're not going to be using the edges anyway. Now, from what I've read, what I've seen, and what I remember, it seems people are having trouble with this top corner. And I'm going to show you guys a really simple way to avoid having any issues. So first thing I want to do, now that I've got this roughly trimmed, okay, I'm going to take a, and you can use a suede blade, you can use a hard card. I'm going to be using a Mac Tack. I made this one for Wagon Guys, like a test sample kind of deal, and he really liked it. I don't think it's good enough to ship back to him. He's going to ship me some more. We're going to make some more. But we're just going to stretch this film out. So we kind of laid it on there, and there's kind of a lot of extra tint, you know, a lot of extra material there. So I just want to stretch this out, direct my fingers, and I'm going to go ahead and kill this light. Because I always, whoa, sorry about that, guys. I always find that it's just easier to shrink when you don't have a light on inside. Here recently, a lot of people have been asking about my heat gun. What setting do I use? I use, on this one, full fan speed and full heat. Every heat gun I use, that's what I do, just all the way. I adjust my temperature by distance or speed. So now we got that going. Here's the easiest way, right? So most people are going wrong. You're gonna shrink this easy part first, and what's gonna happen is you're gonna push all this extra film into this corner, and that's where you're gonna get in trouble. Especially when you're new and you're starting out, you want as little film as possible in the difficult spots. So how do we combat that? Pretty simple. As you'll notice, I kind of just push this down. I don't make a wet line. I don't make a wet H pattern. I literally just let this float. I put dry shrink prep on. I let it dry about 98%. I want just a little bit of moisture on there so that film kind of holds in its place when I make my line. But beyond that, that's it. I don't lift the film and put a wet, you know, wet streak or any of that. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of hold this film down, and I want to shrink the corner first. Now don't, you know, just nail it with the heat. Just kind of, you know, be sensible about it. Keep it moving. You don't want to overheat it. Okay. Now we can go through the middle if we want. Now if you really want to make sure you don't have any problems, what you can do is hit this corner. See how you got this ripple right here? It's telling you the film wants to go this way. Okay? So we can push this up where we've already shrank. All right, so now we got a little bit of material left. If we want, we can split that finger, and we can split this finger into smaller fingers. Okay, same deal. Okay, we just shrank the hardest part of the window in like what, 2 minutes? Now we can just shrink it as normal. Okay. Careful with your edges. You don't want to burn the film into your workspace. I don't know, you probably can't see it, but we have about 3/4 of an inch to an inch right there. So it doesn't really matter. Same way with the top. I'm using a 36-inch roll, and this is a carbon-based film. And so same thing down here. Now, if it's really dicey, I may take my hard card or whatever and block the heat so it doesn't try to shrink sideways. Right, so that's no big deal. Now with carbon and ceramic films, especially ceramic films, they tend to shrink for a second or two because they hold the heat. They do such a good job blocking the heat that they actually hold a lot of it. And so a lot of times you can see it still moving. You can see it still shrinking after you've moved your heat. So that's why I like to go kind of fast, go across it. But same concept we use on the top. Check us out. We got all this shrank. Okay. Same kind of deal. All right. Now, just for kicks and giggles, we'll do this side with the suede blade. I'm going to use the suede side. Here's what I was talking about. You can use your hard card to block the heat and also keep pressure on it so the film doesn't try to do weird stuff. It's a handy technique for like the Ram windshields where the side, like, you pretty much have no border. The biggest thing you're gonna have an issue with when you're learning is reading the film. You gotta learn how to read the film. You gotta be able to tell when it's shrank, when it's ready to push, you know, when it's gonna start creasing on you. And unfortunately, guys, you can watch all the videos in the world, but it's kind of something you have to learn for yourself. Okay, so we have a little pinch point right there. Nothing major. It's actually not even in the workspace, but I'll show you how to deal with it anyway. You see we had one kind of right there and one down here. All we're gonna do is just get a little air under it, push it out, shrink it again basically. Oh, that's actually like a hair or something underneath the film. We don't need to shrink this low, but just for the sake of it. All right, now we're back up at the top. We're gonna do the same thing we did just a minute ago. I'm just holding the film down. I'm just giving it a little bit of heat. Now you see we're getting a lot of film up here. No big deal. Now we can come back over here, and when we shrink over here, it's actually going to pull some film over, from over here. So same deal, it kind of wants to go out to the side. Bloop. Look how much smaller our finger got, just right there. Now there's only so much you can shrink the film, guys. If you work yourself into where you think it's going to crease, that's when you come up here and kind of shrink ahead of where you need to, if that makes sense. That'll collapse down some of this material here, and then you're going to be much less likely to crease it. See, like if I keep pushing up like this, it's going to crease eventually. So I'm just showing you guys a couple of different techniques, a couple different tips and tricks. These cars really, once you get the hang of them, aren't that bad at all. But I know they can be kind of tricky. Because at first glance they look like they're pretty flat, but they're really not. They put a lot of curve in the corners, the top corners especially. And the biggest thing is, guys, just be patient. If you start overheating the film and you feel like you're gonna melt it, move on to a different spot. I know a lot of us talk about like heating it up evenly and doing all that stuff. I mean, that's kind of important, but the thing is, you can shrink a little here and go over there and shrink a little, and it's gonna take you longer for sure, but if you have to start all over again, that's going to take you longer in the long run than just taking a few extra minutes on the shrink, rather than wasting a bunch of film, having to lay it all out again and starting over, which, you're going to have some of that anyway when you're just starting out, but trying to make the transition as easy as possible for you. So now, I mean, that's pretty much it. Just, time for the installation. On these, usually the trim panels are really tight, so I like to cut these really tight all the way around. I believe the top has a big border. Yeah, top has a big border, so we can leave a lot of overhang on the top, but on the sides we're pretty much touching. You can pull these down out of here, but I'm in a little bit of a hurry for this one to get it done before we got some bad weather moving in, so I want to get rid of it here pretty quick. But yeah, if you have time, you can take them out if you're struggling. There's videos on how to do that. I just want to show you guys how to shrink that, couple different ways, couple different tools. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate all the likes, all the comments, all the subscribers. Appreciate you all. And thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.